A lot of people are going to be looking at this going, why has Usyk done that? Could there be a reason outside of from a strategic standpoint, not just trying to score legacy points, going, I beat Wilder, Fury and AJ, and two of them multiple times over? Could there be another reason? Well, in the short term, look at the risk-reward ratio. Wilder, lower risk than Wardley. Reward, not the same, because Wardley's now a world champion, so 3 times undisputed. But Wardley isn't going anywhere. And he's also a administrative champion. Deontay Wilder, whatever you feel about the quality of opposition that he fought, or his legacy more generally, that is a name with historical significance. When stories are told 30, 40, 50 years from now, people from this era will say the following: Joshua Klitschko, Wilder Fury, Usyk Fury, those trilogies or those matches or those rivalries are what people are going to remember this era for. When stories are told, that's what the association's going to come down to. There will be honourable mentions like a Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora and the entertainment they gave, but no one is going to remember at this moment in time what Wardley did against Parker. If Wardley goes on to put a run together and cements himself as what Dubois was meant to become, for example, or what people forecasted Talma to be, that changes the conversation. Then you can say, right, Usyk beating Wardley has more historical significance. But at this moment in time, Joshua and Fury and Wilder are the 3 biggest names of their era outside of Usyk. So he may look at that and go, legacy-wise, it's a clear, obvious reason to. But financially as well, Wilder against Usyk has more appeal to the wider casual market, maybe not the hardcore, but the wider casual market, than Wardley against Usyk. Wardley is still relatively unknown to a lot of people. The Justice Hooney fight, unless you're really a casual fan that's on the active radar of what goes on in boxing, or if you're a hardcore fan, you'd have been up to tabs with that fight. The Parker fight, a lot of casuals still don't know that happened or that it was on. So Deontay Wilder is a name that's more etched into their memories than someone like Wardley at this moment in time. But with that said, when you look at what Usyk's gone on to do, he's arguably earned the right to be choosy. He's arguably, having beaten who he was meant to in his era, back-to-back, Dubois, Joshua, Fury, and now Wilder potentially, he's earned that right, arguably, to say, do you know what? I was accelerated through the heavyweight division. I wasn't given a slow stepping stone, ladder step by ladder step fight process where it was incremental. I was built up very slowly, and then when the right opportunity presented itself, I pounced on it. It wasn't like that here. Usyk very much, and I put emphasis on this, very much was accelerated through. Undisputed champion of the division within 6-7 fights. Chaz Witherspoon, Derek Chisora, AJ Fury. 5 fights in the division and undisputed. He defended his undisputed twice after. So 7 fights in the division. From his standpoint, he's well within his rights to say, do you know what? I'll do what Mayweather or Canelo did in their twilight years or towards the end of their careers. Now, whether or not you give him that right or that privilege to say, I can do what I want now, look what I've done, that's your prerogative. But for Usyk, money-wise, the Wilder fight will make more money. Legacy-wise, it will help him in the long term from a historical significance standpoint. But there are 2 other reasons as well. He's very much conquered the British market. I mean, when you beat AJ, Fury, Dubois twice over, and you sprinkle in Derek Chisora as well, he's fought 1 non-British fighter at heavyweight. From his standpoint, he may be going, look, I've got the UK market down on lock. I've almost sold out Wembley. I've got a big presence in the UK market, and that's fairly well established now as well. He may be looking across the pond and going, for business ventures after boxing, what could be the best avenue for me to put my footprint in the American market more? Deontay Wilder is still the biggest name in heavyweight boxing across the pond, so fighting and beating him is probably the best way to make inroads in that sense. And Usyk has got one eye on business and all the intangible things or the intangible elements of his career after boxing very much on his radar right now. He's currently in Bangkok, Thailand at the WBC convention, openly admitted to starting business ventures out there, nothing related to boxing. From his standpoint, going to America, making a bit of a name for yourself there, that, from his standpoint, gives him a lot of leverage then to do businesses there afterwards, boxing or outside of boxing. So that's another thing that's gone under the radar. But equally, someone like Fabio Wardley has earned the right to challenge for undisputed. And Usyk may be going, Wilder is almost 40. If I take him out just before he retires, and then I fight Wardley after, the Wardley fight's not going anywhere. 3-time undisputed, and with Wilder on my resume as well. In terms of needs must, fighting Wilder is a more immediate risk in terms of legacy emissions for Usyk than Wardley. He's young, he's not going anywhere. Italma, not going anywhere. He could potentially become a 3 or 4-time undisputed champion, Usyk. Collect Wilder on your resume, sandwich that with AJ twice, Dubois twice, Fury twice. 7 names there that are of historical significance. Dubois less so compared to the other 3. And sprinkle Chisora on, and you've got, for his era, you could say at the top end, he cleared out everyone. And when I say top end, I mean sustained over a 5-year period, seen as a dominant figure in the division. Yes, you could say Parker or Caballero or whoever, but those 3. And then you've got that sub-tier below of the Dubois, the Parkers, etc. That's how history will look at it anyway. He may be looking at that going, okay, can catch Wilder on the way out. He may also be thinking, if I'm a 4-time undisputed champion, that over time will age a lot better, because remember, history doesn't remember context. History looks at names, results, locations, and method of victory. All the intangibles, things like who was the bogeyman, did he have a banana skin or a close shave here or there? History doesn't remember that. You and I will. We lived through this era. Our kids, grandkids, etc., who look on BoxRec or the archives 40 years from now, they won't remember this stuff. They look at things at face value, much like a lot of what we see in the world today in terms of judging legacies and more broadly, but that's not a discussion for YouTube. And he'll be looking at that going, 50, 60 years from now, 4-time undisputed, I threw Wilder on there as well, made inroads in the American market. There's a lot of reasons to do this. And it's bulletproofing the legacy because it's making it very airtight. No air can get in. No one can say, yeah, but Wilder had the power, and Usyk in the first 3 rounds is relatively easy to land on. He downloads data, is what they'd argue. They'd say, oh, if he'd fought Wilder, Wilder would have been the one guy stylistically tailor-made to beat him. And if Usyk had never had that, people could in the future have said, oh, he didn't face Wilder, he didn't face Parker or whoever. If he beats Wilder, and Parker's just lost to Wardley, Caballero is there. You could throw that name in there too. Caballero's the only real asterisk you could throw in there and say, right, this guy was there for a long enough time. Wardley's just turned up on the scene in terms of being a top 10 anyway. Caballero's been lingering in there for a good while. Zhang on the decline after a loss. Joe Joyce on the decline after a loss. Dillian White, self-explanatory. This is a name, Caballero, you could throw in there, but it's got less weight. Wilder's carries more weight, no pun intended. Usyk, in terms of the heavyweight rankings, will be going Lennox Lewis, Larry Holmes, etc. These guys and their legacies, Ali, Frazier, they fought so many more fights at heavyweight. If I'm going to have a small sample size, I need to make sure it's the creme de la creme of my era to really rubber stamp my legacy and keep it there in that top 10, top 15 list of all-time heavyweights for a long time to come. If I just stop at Fury, AJ and Dubois and leave names like Wilder out, for example, he's already got his back up against the wall. It's already an uphill climb. It's a slope because he doesn't have, and he won't have, the luxury of another 10 years of worth of heavyweights that he'll stick around for. It's a small sample size. He turned to heavyweight in his early to mid-30s. It wasn't like you switch in your late 20s and you got another 10 years to build a resume. It doesn't work like that. From his standpoint, in terms of cementing his legacy, which is already cemented as the best heavyweight of his era, all-time legacy, heavyweight-wise, is a lot more subjective. And it scores bonus points in the pound-for-pound legacy conversation of where he sits all-time. Throw Wilder on the dartboard as well. It's a very impressive list that checks out at name value sense anyway. So those are my thoughts in that sense. And I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say as well in terms of whether you feel Usyk needed to fight Wilder or not. Is it the right move or not? And above all else, is it strategic to bulletproof his legacy going forward? Let me know what you think and drop a comment down below.
Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer for you in future videos or the extended breakdowns, just tweet them over to me. That's at ElusiveRaf on Twitter. If you guys want to see my daily fight analysis uploads, I upload those every day to Instagram, and that's at Elusive 2.0 on Instagram.